This is Lysha Holmes, and I'm your host on the Recruiters Recruitment Podcast. And I'm very excited because joining me today on the podcast is a bit of a celebrity, actually. Somebody who I've been following on LinkedIn. And I'm guessing if you're clicking on this episode, then you're also following him too. And we've just met for the first time, we've never spoken before. But the whole premise of, I guess, what he does is that I already felt like I knew him, and it's just flowed and it's been absolutely lovely, apart from a really bad signal, which is not in our control. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to you our global community, Kyle Campion, who's sat all the way in, I think, Leicestershire. How are you, Kyle?
I am, yes, very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. A pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on here, especially because apart from a few webinars, you've never actually recorded on a podcast before. So I'm very honoured that you've chosen the Recruiters Recruitment Podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been obviously been following your content for quite a while and watched quite a few of them. So, like I say, honoured to be on here.
Well, yeah, like I said, I love bringing people onto the show who I think have got a really interesting story to share, who maybe haven't been on a podcast before, because I think it's all about keeping it fresh. There's lots of people that go on lots and lots of podcasts, myself included, by the way. But I think it's really nice to always introduce new faces, and I think it's a brilliant way for everybody to learn from what your journey has been. So you're a recruiter turned LinkedIn ghostwriter, so I can't wait to hear about that. But give us an introduction as to your career and how we find you today doing what you're doing on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I've been in I started in recruitment in 2011.
Okay.
Started for a startup, so learned everything there was to learn about recruitment, and I was there for about 4.5 years. And like so many, thought it's time to go out by myself. So set up my own agency, KCR Associates, in October 2015. And then my sister Rachel came to work for the business a year later. She was just coming back from traveling Canada. Didn't kill each other, brother and sister. So that's always a good start. And yeah, I got very much into LinkedIn after COVID.
Mm,
And over the last sort of few years, I saw the magic of LinkedIn. Still got the recruitment business, but now Rachel looks after that completely. So I jumped ship basically and started calling myself a LinkedIn ghostwriter in December last year. So yeah, about 10 months in now. So
well, that's
yeah.
amazing. Well, as we record this now in September, this will probably be going out towards the end of 2025. What sort of recruitment does your business do?
Mainly sales, customer service, some PA admin as well, all within sort of commercial real estate, more specifically co-working service office market.
Oh,
So
great.
yeah, I did that since I started in recruitment. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I mean, we could do a whole podcast on working with your family. How is it working with a sibling? Is Rachel older than you or younger than you?
She's she's 2 years older than me.
She's the big
Um,
sister. You don't need to say any more. I'm the eldest of five.
big
I
sister.
know exactly who
Yeah,
she is.
yeah. And we actually, we work very well together.
That's nice.
Because I'm the sort of person that's, particularly when I started the business, it was just go out there, do deals, win clients.
Right.
Rachel's a lot more, she comes from more of a finance admin
Oh,
background. So she was coming in, sort out the accountant and all the support. And she does a lot of the resourcing on the candidate
okay.
side as well.
Good
So
blend.
actually, we've, yeah, complemented each other very well, which is nice.
And in terms of your, because this, I only sort of pick up on this because obviously everyone knows, well, not everyone actually. But Lilia is my daughter, and we set boundaries on day one that we had to protect our mother-daughter relationship, regardless of what happens in the working day. And it seems to be working, but we revisit that boundary conversation very regularly. Is that something you and Rachel did, or did you not need to?
Rachel was more so on that note than me, because Rachel was like, I don't want to fall out. What if we don't get on? What if something happens? And I didn't think that deep. um, but we haven't. But yeah, if we ever like family get-togethers and for that, we very rarely discuss work.
Good.
If
Yeah.
I'm speaking to my dad about it or something, and Rachel's there, she'll join the conversation. But there won't be any, have you done that report, or what did that candidate say, or or anything like that at all.
I mean, joking aside, there are lots of people out there listening now who maybe are working with family or spouses or parents or children or friends of family, and I think it's really important that we talk about it. And Lilia actually came on the podcast probably about a year ago, actually, I think when she first started, and when I think about the journey that we've been on, I think it's really important. And actually, not talking about shop when you're in your normal setting is really important for yourself. It just means that you're not thinking about it all the time. So no, I love that. I didn't know that bit of your story, so that's amazing. So I love that you've kind of evolved your career and the fact that you
Mm.
have come from a successful recruitment background. I think that's really important. And can I say I do prefer ghostwriter to guru?
Yes, yeah, don't call me a guru.
Oh,
Definitely
so
not.
give us an idea of what do you actually do? I mean, without sounding facetious, what you've got your tagline is "I write, you grow." I love that.
Yeah, that's quite a good one, isn't it? So I mean, it all started basically. Spent a lot of time and money over the last few years writing on LinkedIn, learning from some huge creators on the platform. And the reason I started writing on LinkedIn is because I love recruitment,
Mm.
but the one thing I didn't like was going on job boards, LinkedIn Recruiter, looking at CVs all day. Like I just couldn't do it. So I started writing on LinkedIn
Yeah.
so people would come to me. And over the last sort of few years, I saw the magic of that. And it was summer of last year. One of my clients asked me to train one of their people up that I just placed on LinkedIn. He was like, "Could you sort of show him the ropes, do like a one-to-one session," which I did. Promoted that a little bit, and I ended up doing about 5 or 6 of those, and I really enjoyed it. I could talk about LinkedIn all day. And then towards the end of last year, one of my clients came to me and was like, "Would you just ghostwrite for me? Would you just write all my content for me? Just do it." Never considered it before. I didn't really know it was. I mean, I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know anything more than that. Started looking into it, started doing some research and things like that, and I thought, why not? And let's go for it. And
Love
this is
it.
probably where going back to where I go into I'm like the gun ho. Let's just go with it and see what happens. Change up my profile, my about section, everything. So I already had one client in the bag, obviously, and then just started reaching out to clients from my recruitment background. Say, hey, look, I'm now doing ghostwriting. This is what I can do for you. And it's basically I'm writing their content for them on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Um, so, as an example, if I was ghostwriting for you, there's like a 4 week onboarding process. There's lots of questions. We jump on calls like this. We record those. So everything's done in your tone, your voice, your
Yeah.
opinions, your stories, and everything. And then I go away, write the content. I upload it to a Notion document in a calendar. You review that content, make sure you're happy with it. Assuming you are, you're effectively copying and pasting it into LinkedIn. The other thing I started doing in January this year
Hmm.
is coaching as well, because quite early on, what I found was a lot of people actually want to learn how to do it themselves.
Absolutely.
Um, so I was like, I'll do coaching as well. So I can either ghostwrite for you, or I can coach you how to do it.
To do both.
So that's like a 60 days one-to-one, no groups, no community, just me and you, sort of coaching. So
Hmm.
yeah, basically writing content,
It's amazing.
basically.
Well, I love how organic it's been, and I think it's important that you've done the second part because what the thing that people often miss on LinkedIn is the engagement you can have in comments in other people's
Mm.
posts. It's not just about writing your own posts; it's about really working it as a community and seeing it as a business tool. And you can't then go and write comments and replies, and that's where I think the coaching and empowering people to have the confidence in knowing what to put, how to write it, to ensure there's continuity with what you are then sharing as their ghostwriter. And what's your kind of I mean, I've observed a lot of the stories that you share about some of the people that you are writing for. It tends to be, people that are time poor that maybe don't have the ideas. I mean, what's the kind of ethos behind why someone would do it rather
Yeah.
than just be coached by you? Mm.
So yeah, it's a few different things. Time poor is definitely one.
Mm,
Some people just don't have the interest in it. It's
mm.
like I just don't
Yeah,
have the interest to do it, but I know I need to be out there
yeah,
promoting the
yeah,
business. And some people just, I don't know what to say or what I should say or when I should say it, or
yeah.
you know, we all see it on LinkedIn where people say, "Oh, just post anything." But the problem with that is it's not going to get you the results you want. So what happens is people just start posting anything,
Mm,
and after a month or 2 months, they don't see the results. They don't see an inbound lead, and
yeah.
then they just stop. And which is pointless. It's got to have a bit of a plan, but it's about staying consistent as well. So yeah, normally it's like time poor. They just don't have an interest, or they're running a business and they're like, I just don't have the time to be able
Yeah.
to sort of do that normally. But like I said, a lot of people that I work with, they've got the interest and they've probably got the time. They just don't know what to be
What to say,
doing or
how to
saying.
say it. And I think, from your observations, do people see that LinkedIn is some kind of silver bullet to business?
I think
Or do you
people
think
expect.
it is?
I, I I think there's a huge missed opportunity if you're not waiting on LinkedIn. I've seen it myself. I mean, I got off job boards for the last 2.5 years. I
Mm,
didn't pay for a LinkedIn recruiter license. We discussed earlier how expensive those are. So it saved me a fortune, but
mm,
also candidates and clients were coming to me.
mm.
So I can see the magic with it, but I always say to people, this is not going to be 1 month and you're going to go, viral and make loads of money.
No.
This is about consistency. So as long as people are aware it's a long-term
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
you basically can't fail. As long as you're writing good content, giving good advice, sharing your journey.
Mm.
It's the people that expect immediate results, don't get them, and then they quit. That's typically what most people do.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And it's the thing is now it's such a crowded space to be on.
Mm.
It's almost like, I guess we can really switch this up for somebody that's maybe listening, which, I'd like to think if you're taking your time to listen to a podcast, you are doing everything that you can to elevate yourself. But it's very possible that you are that individual that Kyle's just mentioned, that maybe you don't have the confidence or you don't really know how to share. But I almost feel like you have to start somewhere. And even though it is crowded, you might think, oh my God, how do I stand out against all these millions and billions of people? But within your first connection community, maybe you've got 800 connections, maybe you've got the 30,000 connections, whatever it might be. But I feel like if you had that one person listening now who hasn't got the confidence, but knows that they need to do it, what should their first post be?
I actually did this for a client of mine. They had never written on LinkedIn before, so it
Wow.
was brand new for them. And I was ghostwriting for them. So I did a bit of an introduction post that, I've been in the industry for X amount of years, a bit of a background, a story about their background. I'm new to LinkedIn. I've never written before. It's my first ever post.
Yeah.
I'm very nervous. Have you got any tips? Have you got any advice for me?
But-
When you show vulnerability,
Yeah.
people to support that. And that went crazy. Like for his first post, he got well over 100 likes and comments.
For a
I
first
think
post, that's amazing.
first post, I think it got about 15,000 impressions.
Yeah, that's
Um,
impressive for a first post. That's
First
impressive.
post.
That's
It's the
impressive for a not
vulnerability.
post, isn't it? Because we know that the viral days are over. So that's actually really good that 15,000 impressions of his first connections have seen that post and engaged. Wow.
Yeah. And but I would say, like, whenever I'm working with someone um who's going to be a client and they're nervous about posting, which is very, very common, by the way. I
Yeah.
always ask them, what did I post yesterday? And no one so far has been able to tell me. Why would you? Why would you care what Kyle was posting on LinkedIn?
Mm,
We're busy living our lives, running a business.
mm,
You know, you're not laying awake at night worrying about what other people are writing on
yeah.
LinkedIn. So if you post something today and it does really badly, firstly, no one's seen it anyway.
Yeah.
And second of all, no one cares.
Yeah.
and you've got another opportunity tomorrow. So I always say, I know it's hard because I used to really overthink it in the early days as well. And if you were to go back to my early posts now, back in like 2021, like they were awful.
Cringe.
But it's part of the learning. It's part of the learning process. So,
It
but no,
is.
no, trust me, no one cares. No, no one cares.
So I love the vulnerability. So far I've taken from this consistency, sharing the
Mhm.
vulnerability, and I mean I'm just going to share my own anecdote. In that, I mean I've been on LinkedIn for a really long time. I mentioned to you off camera that I've been on there since about 2007. I was really early in adopting it, but I was just sharing jobs. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I might share the odd sort of comment or opinion if I dared. And it was COVID for me. I mean, that's when the platform totally changed, wasn't it? Because we were all like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And I remember recording a video very crudely on my phone up Holcombe Hill, where I live, basically saying, I think it was like week one, going, oh, literally going, "Oh my God, like I'm a founder, I support founders, and I don't know what to say to anybody. I've never known anything like this before." But just to say, I see you, I hear you, one of those kind of like we're all in it together kind of thing. We're all in different boats, but we're all on the same storm. If anyone wants to send me a message, I'm here for you. There's no shame in any of it. It's gonna because we don't know how long this is gonna last, kind of thing. And I've actually shared it on my Facebook, and then I thought I'm going to stick it on LinkedIn. I'm just going to try. And this was literally April 2020. And the messages I got, I can still remember now, it makes me quite choked up actually. There were two or three female founders actually, particularly, that rang me and said, "I can't tell you what that post has done to me." So didn't get an ROI on it, but they will never forget that I did that for them because I said, "Let's speak." We did a Zoom, and I was like, "Just share what you want to share." They were terrified of losing their business, terrified of letting people go. This was before furlough, by the way. And that vulnerability, I continued and do so to this day with, I shared at the start of this year that I'd had the worst quarter I've ever had at the start of this year, and people have still remembered that I shared that. So I'm contradicting what you've just said, but that's because I'm already kind of, I know I've got my audience, and I think
Yeah.
people don't realize that actually doing that doesn't mean you're being weak or that you're not creating this expertise profile, but actually we're connecting on a human level with each other.
Lived experiences, real stories
Mm,
perform best on LinkedIn
yeah.
because only you can tell them. It's only happened to you typically.
Yeah.
So, or from your point of view. So you can't do that with ChatGPT. It's not going to throw it up.
No.
And people can tell, I think, when you're being real and raw and honest. I think
Yeah.
it comes across naturally in your writing. I did a post, I think about 2 months ago now, and I really debated whether I do the post or not, like for ages, which is very unlike me. And if I was speaking to one of my clients, I'd be like, just post it, no one cares. But it was about early 2024, and we'd had a really bad quarter.
Mm,
It was a really tough time, and it was just the pressure of running the business. And I'm married, I've got two young kids, and it was quite a vulnerable post about how sort of lonely I felt at that moment in time.
mm,
Um, and I didn't do it obviously to win a client. I just did it to share that. But I actually won a client who I still work with now, who's the CEO, and she'd been following my content for quite a while on
yeah.
LinkedIn. We jumped into, she reached out to me and we had a call a few days later. And she said to me, the reason I reached out was because of that post, because I've been through the same thing. She was like, I used to cry on my way home from work, and it's that vulnerability. I was like, I get this guy.
Yeah.
And people are so used to seeing huge wins and success stories
Oh,
and all this,
record
which is
month.
great.
Oh,
But yeah, it's, every month's a record month.
that's what
But
I
when you
say to
share,
them.
but when you share, like, I've had a really crap month,
Right.
like people
Yeah.
go, wow, this is honest. Like, and everyone wants to, that honesty is what's going to attract people to you, the right people.
Yeah. But can I just have a caveat with that? We're not talking about victim shaming here or victim sharing here. No, I agree with everything that you've said. And, I think there's a bit of a backlash sometimes on those that seem to, disingenuously glow and not read the room. Everybody's having a different experience depending on what their sector is, how many people they employ, where they live in the world. It's all very subjective. And I think very often the things that the people that I really gravitate towards, and that I think my audience, that this podcast community, it's genuine people. And
Mm.
sometimes it is nice to celebrate and to thank people. And we've got a big celebration at Key Recruitment this year. We're 20 this year, so there's going to be lots of Key 20
Mhm.
celebrating Key 20. But I'd like to think that the tone of it is all, with greatest gratitude rather than boastfulness, because human beings don't tend to necessarily gravitate towards that. But I think sharing a story about, we've just had the summer holidays, being a working parent, people sharing about
Mhm.
grief from losing an animal, because people, not everyone have children, and people talking about promotion or being fired, or you know diversity. These are all things that connect us. So for me, there's consistency, there's vulnerability, but it's that human connection on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And not, I just want to go back to a point you made about not overthinking it. Like, stop
Mm.
navel gazing, just post it and just
Yeah.
see how your audience takes to it. And I like the one that you did for the example that you gave, where it's like asking the audience back, what do you think?
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
a perfect way to engage, isn't it? It really is. Where
I
does,
mean,
sorry.
so I was just going to say, we're all still learning. I mean, I try different things now all the time. Like if you look at a lot of my content, I usually will use quite a short hook by those first couple of lines,
Yeah.
but I'll try a longer hook and different things and
Yeah.
see what works and what doesn't. And some do
Yeah.
really well, and some are like, oh, I won't do that again.
Yeah.
Like it's fine. Like it's part of how we learn and then, sort of develop from there, really.
Yeah. Well, that's because none of us really know what the algorithm is thinking. We have to
Exactly.
play the algorithm game, because ultimately we all need an ROI from LinkedIn to justify, spending money on it, spending with the likes of you, investing in whatever coaching people do with you or me. I do coaching too. But actually, you know, it is sometimes a case of testing it, seeing what happens, see what works. Resharing content that's worked well before doesn't guarantee it's going to do well again. It's just, you have to continue to adapt and learn. I think it's important. What I was going to ask you, and I'm very sorry I rudely interrupted you there, was where does AI and ChatGPT sit within your, I guess, within your toolkit, and what would your advice be? Because
Mhm.
I mean, I can spot an AI written post a mile off an eye. This is ironic because obviously Paiger is our sponsor, but even though we all use Paiger and we adore Paiger, none of us use the AI writer ever. We just don't, hate it. And when I accidentally
Mhm.
sometimes click on it, I'm like, oh no, 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 go back to what I wrote. It's so much better. So, what are your views on people utilizing that for, I mean, for writing content? I know my opinions, but I'm going to ask you yours first.
Mhm. I think AI gets a very bad reputation. I would say there's nothing wrong with using AI. I use it as well. I
Yeah,
have never copied and pasted
no,
from any AI platform, ChatGPT, Claude, any of those. You've got to put your own language, your own tone, your
yeah.
own personality into it. Um, if I see a post, I see, here's the truth. I know it's ChatGPT, or almost certainly there's a good bet. There's certain words and phrases that we use that we don't use in everyday conversation normally.
Should we delve into
Some
that a little bit more, Kyle? That's an AI joke. Because
they'll, oh,
every week on the podcast, it'll say, because we obviously use the AI summary, and it'll say, Lysha
yeah.
delves into with whichever guest. And every week that's what it says. And I'm like, oh, here we are again, delving.
There's certain things, and when we see more content, I think we've gone from um, ChatGPT, like everyone using it, and it got very noisy, the platform. Then, of course, everyone then goes, oh, we can spot AI a mile off.
Yeah.
So now people are like wanting to move away from it. I say there's nothing wrong with it at all, but don't copy and paste from it. Particularly when I first started writing, like earlier this year, I did it a lot. I would write a post and then I'll read it back.
Mm,
And if it doesn't sound like me, I'll cut bits out, I'll edit, I'll change it. Sometimes I'll use slang in my content
yeah.
because it's the way I talk.
Yeah.
Like, just be you. Like that will do better than a really polished AI generated
Yeah.
post where everyone can see through it.
Yeah.
But in short, nothing wrong with AI, but don't copy and paste from it.
No, I mean, I think it's brilliant. So here's my two penneth for what it's worth. I think I don't enjoy reading the if it's meant to be the origination of the post, I just don't even bother reading it, and I certainly don't read it in comments. Can I tell you? And in fact, I reply back to the bots. I do a little. Is that what you think? And I do a little bot, and then they never reply back. But joking aside, I mean, it's an amazing tool, and I think it is fantastic for research. It's brilliant for idea generation. And I can't imagine life without it now, but I would hate to think that I'm reading a book or reading a post or listening to a podcast or reading someone's, I don't know, comments or whatever, and it isn't something that they actually think, and it's just been auto-generated. So I almost feel like we're already backlashing against what we thought was going to be our greatest threat. But I think it's a bit like, I love getting my vinyl record player out and playing an album, but would I go and get a cassette player and try and fast forward to the song that this is what I had to do, this is how old I am? Or do I just ask my Alexa to just play the greatest hits of George Michael from 1990 or something? That's the reality of what AI is doing. It's just saving us all the time and the hassle, but it doesn't replace what we actually want it for. I don't know where that came from. No idea where George Michael came from. No, that's really, really useful. And I think, if you've got any parting words to anyone, I mean, I guess I wanted you on because I think it's really wonderful what you've created in terms of, you are very genuine. And I think in a very crowded space of LinkedIn gurus, you're not a guru, you're a ghostwriter. I think you're very I think you come across really genuine. And you seem to appeal. So what would your lasting advice be for people that maybe just need to post?
Give it a try. Don't overthink it, and probably above all else, have fun with it. If
Yeah.
you don't enjoy it, firstly, I think it comes across it's being forced, and you'll never stay consistent if you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So you'll find your vibe. I mean, that's how me and you started talking on LinkedIn, and it wasn't in the DMs. I wasn't pitching you or you pitching me. It was in the comments and having banter and fun and a joke. And
That's,
I do with Laura all the time as well on her posts, and
yeah.
have fun with it would be the most important thing, I think.
Can I just add to that, which is I'm a big believer in using the voice, your tone of voice, and the best way to use tone of voice is to actually use your voice. So you might know this. I mean, you're talking to a Gen Xer here, but on your notes on your phone, you can use the microphone to actually then dictate it to text. Talk how you would want to say your post. So you might say, "You're not going to believe what happened to me today. I was on the phone to a client, and this is what happened. What would you have done in this situation?" And you'll find that I mean, there might be typos in there, by the way. And it always gets my name wrong, which I find really hilarious. I need to train my Siri better. But what you will find is that actually it reads like you want it to read, and it sounds really authentic, and you probably have more fun. But what it allows you to do then is that you can start to build up a library then of ideas as you're on the phone to a client. You go, my God, that'd be a great post to share. Obviously, you would not anonymize certain aspects of it, but use your technology in that way. So it is your voice, literally, but you're typing it.
100%. Yeah. And real life experiences like that,
Yeah.
candidates, clients,
Yeah.
calls you're on, DMs, comments you get, emails you get.
Yeah.
That's where the best content will come from.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you so much. I knew you'd be good fun. How was your first experience on somebody's podcast?
Been amazing. Can't wait to do more.
I was going to say, come on, guys. I know I have lots of podcasters that listen. Get Kyle on because I think you're great, and I think we need more people like you in the world. Thank you so much for joining us on the Recruiters Recruitment Podcast.